All right. Today's talk is about ego, the power to destroy or the power to create. What I would say in working with a lot of people, I would say this is something that people are aware of, but totally underestimate it. To me, it makes a huge difference in the world of whether you have what I call a regulated ego or an unregulated ego. So let's first start and say you have a regulated ego or a healthy ego. I think the ego can do many great things. I mean, it can get you to do things that you don't want to do, but you need to do. It can help you, achieve great things. And I would wager to say that all the great things we have in life and some of these great innovations that made life better was driven by someone's ego, can't talk, driven by someone's ego that said, I want to do something that serves the world that's never been done before. And so a healthy ego can do great things. On the flip side, an unregulated ego can be a disaster. And I've worked with a lot of very bright and successful business people that have done and made really bad decisions because they had an unregulated ego. And so some of the things I've seen is like I've had clients that had made millions and millions of dollars using cryptocurrencies, or I've had clients that had a very specific trading strategy where they made millions. And they became so confident in those strategies that they put their whole trading account into that particular strategy, or they even put their retirement portfolio in, and they were not open to the concept of asset allocation because they felt they were brilliant investors. And then I've also seen then when the market changed where they lost either the whole portfolio or a significant portion of it. And I've seen the same in business situations where I had a client that had a super competitive product or strategy that was well above their competition, and they meet with another business to work out a deal with them, and they lose the deal, and the business ends up taking somebody else because my client came in from complete arrogance, and they just sort of dictated the terms and what they wanted and how they wanted it, and didn't take the other person into consideration at all, and then lose the deal, and then we're dumbfounded why they didn't get it. I could go on and on and on about mistakes I've seen clients make that affected their bottom line because they let their ego dictate. So today, I'm going to give you the 3 to thrive so you don't go down that path of an unregulated ego and suffer the consequences. Now, the 3 that I'm going to go through are all interrelated. So first one I would say is you want to check in with yourself when you have a critical decision or you're meeting with a team is, am I only thinking about myself? It's so basic, but it's a check mark. You need to check in with yourself. And there's a methodology that Tony Robbins developed about looking at how you meet your needs. And in this case, I'm going to refer to how you meet your need for significance, which is tied to the ego. And so what I would say, and I do this myself, the question I ask, does it feel good, but it's not good for me, not good for others, and not good for the greater good? If I'm meeting my need for significance that way, I'm saying my ego is unregulated. I'm all in my ego. Is all I care about me, and I'm not worried about everybody else. The flip side of that is the best way to meet your need for significance would be, it might not feel good, but it's good for me, good for others, and good for the greater good. And an example of that might be, I might be the domain expert in my field, and I'm going into the meeting with some other people, and in that meeting, I purposely subjugate my ego and listen to people in that meeting and take in their input and build relationships with people with the whole outcome of us being collaborative, so we work out a deal that works for everybody. And going that way, you find will definitely facilitate any type of deal. So the other of my second of three to thrive is, am I considering other people's perspectives? And again, it goes back to, if you become a domain expert in your field, oftentimes we delete other people's opinions and perspective. The challenge with that is the world is constantly evolving. So you might have been the domain expert in this area, for the last 10 years, but things have changed. And you've got to, what I would say, cultivate a beginner mindset, even though you're a domain expert. So you're open and listening all the time for new perspectives. And the last one is, my other question is, on your checklist that you have to ask, do I have a need to be right, or am I more focused on finding the truth? So if you have a need to be right and you're meeting with people, then it's all about you and your ego, which is unregulated, and you miss opportunities because you're deleting important things that you're not seeing. So anyway, I hope you use this, pay attention to it, and I'll see you on my next talk.